Hey, what's happening? It's a Monday. It's Rumor and Innuendo. I'm Dominic D'Angelo of Studio1Sports.com, and I'm live with Mr. Robert Karpos, WE Creative _ish. Robert, happy Monday to you, my dude.
Happy Monday. Happy back here talking all things wrestling. Happy to be joined by some folks in the chat. Cammy Star says, after morning, guys.
Yo.
E says, was up? Oba hasn't defeated the real beast yet, Marcus D'Angelo. That's why they scrambled around, gave Oba the open challenge because TKO couldn't afford Marcus. That's right. That $50 and a hot dog was probably. Oh no, buddy. Nick Khan does not seem like a handshake guy. That seems like there's a hand sanitizer near him at any point in time. Wanna Breeze says, hello, RNI. Will today's show talk about the ROH pay-per-view? Like, did anyone watch it besides Scott, which he definitely didn't pay for? How dare you cast aspersions that any of us would have watched the Ring of Honor pay-per-view? Did you wind up talking to Tony?
Yes. What did I ask him? Oh, I asked him about Leo Rush and his character transformation. And so he said he talked to him about it. Very interesting trajectory. The Black Heart, if you haven't seen it, it's very unique, the Leo Rush character. Have you seen it, Robert?
Yes, I have. And my thoughts on it are Dre Owens says, happy Monday, R&I. Congrats to EO and Evil. What's on tap for Raw tonight? I'm sure it's in the email thread that I have not had a chance to look at yet, but I'm sure Dom has it all spelled out. Very excited.
Yes. Willie Thornbrew, he says $2 million in human money in 17 seconds. Not bad work when you can find it. Oh, yes. Referring to the Ronda Rousey, Gina Carano fight.
Yes, Ronda Rousey and Gina Carano lasting 17 seconds. And guys,
hey,
screw it, let's just do it now. Guys, if your lady or your fella or that person that sends you an eggplant emoji at 2 a.m. is ready to go to battle in, it wasn't even an octagon, in this 6-sided ring, and you want to last more than 17 seconds, then can we talk to you about our friends at Blue Chew? We've got a special deal for our listeners right now. When you buy 2 months of Blue Chew Gold, you get the 3rd month free with promo code RUMOR. Visit BlueChew.com for more details and important safety information. And we thank Blue Chew for sponsoring this episode, Rumor and Innuendo. It was a premature Blue Chew read.
I like it. Get out of the way, everybody. Get out of the way and satisfy your lover. Huh, Robert? Did you love SmackDown on Friday?
I totally just tuned at everything you said, so we're good. Did I remember? So SmackDown is it was a long time ago.
It was
Friday. It was a fine yet forgettable show.
Mm-hmm.
I think is the best way to put it. Hold on.
Seems like that's a going rate for WWE. That's like the highest bar at the moment. It's a fine but forgettable show, and anything else has been part of the course below it. Forgettable. It's been the most part with WWE.
I mean, they're trying to do a couple of really interesting things. Interesting being we're really stretching the meaning of that a little bit here. I think they're really trying to solidify Trick Williams as a babyface, as an outright babyface. We're clearing the path. That he was going up against The Miz. You got Miz and Kit Wilson going up against Trick in Trick's, homecoming world. Like, this all was fine. I think that all made a lot of sense. We're really highlighting that Trick Williams is more of a pure baby face as far as they're concerned right now in this immediate pivot. They're also trying to push Royce Keys as a main event guy right out the gate. About damn time. You debut him at the Rumble, and then he just kind of vanishes for a while, and he comes back and wins the Andre. And we're saying, well, what is it? Where does he fit in the pecking order? Having him go up against Gunther in the main event of SmackDown for the number 1 contendership, I thought was a pretty smart idea. Clearly, we knew we were getting Gunther and Cody, so there wasn't a ton of drama. And knowing that Solo was going to play a part in this made you realize, all right, we're advancing 2 big stories at once. And I'm always in favor of leveraging a match, a segment, what have you, to get multiple objectives accomplished.
Do you think the fact that Gunther has kind of transitioned over to SmackDown, is that an indication that we're not going to have a WWE draft going on this year?
Yes, I don't think that. I think that they want to, and this is just speculation on my part, that I think they want to steer clear of a big draft because you're going to want input from Netflix. You're not going to want. You're going to get input from Netflix. You're going to get input from USA and NBC Universal over who's appearing on what show. And to go, if Netflix had their way, they're gonna be like, great, let's put Cody on Monday Night Raw. Let's bring Rhea back over to Monday Night Raw, and then SmackDown can get LA Knight.
Yeah, I'm all for not having a draft, but it feels like a big stopgap a lot of the time from a creative perspective for WWE, and they really don't need that right now because they're already creating their own stopgap. Some of the creative that's going on at the moment in time. So no
Two things
draft.
I want to call it. So 69305 just drops a gem here. Says, got my 2-year-old daughter the holy grail of video package this weekend, or should I show my 2-year-old Rock Stone Cold WrestleMania X7, the only acceptable time to expose Limp Bizkit to anyone's child. Let's be honest.
Oh,
Only situation in which that's appropriate. And then Devin Dowling says, at least they tried to make a reason for Gunther being on SmackDown. His Raw contract was expired, and Heyman helped him get a SmackDown contract. Yeah, that's another important key factor. Is Rhea it was a backdoor transition over to SmackDown by her winning the SmackDown title. Gunther negotiating a contract to not only come over to SmackDown, but be the number one contender for the world title or Universal title makes a lot of sense to fill some gaps, given that Drew McIntyre is off filming a movie and Randy Orton's back is not hurt, despite what your boy Meltzer may be saying. It's a nice way to move some folks over before they shrink SmackDown down to 2 hours, which we keep hearing is forthcoming and part of the reason why they had the roster cuts that they did. It also highlights some of the weird decisions that have occurred on Monday Night Raw, but we'll get to Raw momentarily. It looks like there's a couple of other news bulletins here featuring 2 of my all-time favorites, Ronda Rousey and Baron Corbin.
Yes, my goodness. Yeah, speaking of Dave Meltzer, he had a little bit of news bit on his Wrestling Observer Radio regarding Baron Corbin, noting that he's probably going back to WWE. He said, I've not heard it's a done deal, but I know it's been talked about. Yes, on the SmackDown show. When Danhausen was talking about something bigger, my gut was that's who it is. That's just my speculation. I just know he's been talked with about being brought in. So potentially Baron Corbin, currently going by Bishop Dyer on the indie scene, might be slated to go back to WWE. What do you think of that, Robert?
Anyone who has listened to any podcast I've done in the last 7 years or so knows what I would think about a Baron Corbin return. I don't want to cast aspersions on anybody getting any opportunity to work anywhere, so I won't. I will just point out, Devin Dowling actually pointed out what I was going to point out, which is Dijak is available, and you could bring him in. I would be thrilled to see Dijak back. I also assumed, and again, that the Danhausen stuff was building to an Omos return. I thought that was going to happen at the PLE. That there was a possibility of that when all of the mini Danhausens ran into the machine, that they were going to almost like Power Ranger into Megatron or Megazord, whatever the heck that was called, and fuse into Omos. Omoshausen.
Like Cammy Star suspects too. We're going to get Omos in the Danhausen makeup.
I wouldn't be mad about it. Megazord, yes, thank you. E.
Yes,
but there was a Dana Carvey joke that I was thinking of. That was what was stuck in my head, where his kids want the action figures, and he's like, "Well, I thought you already have that one." He's like, "No, depending on the angle of how its finger is bent, it's a different named." It's like this is like Megatoe, Megati, Megatrue, whatever. I'm
not apathetic of Baron Corbin returning to WWE as you are. I think I never liked him retiring Kurt Angle. I thought that was such a horrible use of both guys in so many fashions. And then on top of it, but I do like what he was able to show with his ability to make something out of nothing like that.
The happy Corbin, sad Corbin stuff he did a nice job with. I just think that if you can find the right space for him and he's capable enough in the ring, then so be it. I just think who's not getting an opportunity because you're bringing back Baron Corbin? And there's
I think
probably
that's
more
fair.
interesting guys, especially look at the folks who got released, and you're going, well, would I rather have Baron Corbin or Aleister Black? It's an unfair thing to say, but you do kind of look at, well, if I'm saving dollars, but now I'm spending dollars, why am I spending those dollars unless someone there really has a liking of Corbin, or Corbin's coming in at a much more reduced rate, or full transparency, I have not seen what he has done in some companies whose names will remain nameless. He may have stepped up his game and learned a new hold, and you're never going to begrudge somebody for that. I don't know how excited the audience is going to be like, oh man, guys, tune in this week because Baron Corbin is back.
Yeah, they'll have some legwork to do, and I don't know from Meltzer's point, putting him in the Danhausen role would necessarily get that many eyes on it when you have a big dude like Almost ready to go, and that would be a huge contrast to Danhausen.
I mean, Omos, I keep hearing that he's putting in the work and he's getting better and he's been improving over time and he's wanted to improve, not just coasting on being a big guy. So if you need somebody from that role, that kind of feels like a good spot for him.
I agree.
But speaking of fake sports, Ronda Rousey.
Yes, we mentioned her earlier with the 17 seconds, her handedly defeating Gina Carano via armbar. People, I can't believe people thought this was a work. If it was a work, why wouldn't it be longer and why wouldn't there be more drama to it? This was short, quick.
Yeah, that's what makes me think this was a work. So look, I did work in boxing previously, and there was rumor and innuendo about that. If you're Ronda Rousey and you're Gina Carano, and one of them is making $2 million off this fight, one I believe was making $1.2 million off of this fight. If the idea was to establish a new promotion, a new league, a new avenue for people to watch MMA, and you want to reestablish that Ronda Rousey is just as much a killer now as she ever was, going out there and beating Gina Carano, who, credit to Gina Carano, she said she lost 100 pounds to get into shape for this fight. She got a big payday. Hey, there's no shame in tapping in MMA, and she got taken down quickly and was made to submit. That's kind of the pro and con of any MMA fight, any boxing match. I always said this. WWE's value was, who cares if it's predetermined? You're going to get your money's worth. You're going to get good quality matches. You're going to get athleticism. You're going to get a story that people can actually follow and latch onto. MMA, it's a crapshoot. It may go the distance and you get zero visible punches. It's just a lot of, he's got guy locked up, ref goes in, makes him break. Or they're on the ground doing very intricate holds that the camera can't really capture. There are a number of knockouts that I saw in boxing. You don't even see the punch. So for this, you got eyeballs on this product. We got to, unfortunately, hear Mauro Ranallo on commentary. I don't like Mauro.
I'm not a fan
Never
of
liked Mauro. Ever since we had an incident.
He's over the top, heavy-handed. You had an incident?
In the past. Unimportant.
Rumor and innuendo, Robert.
It is rumor and innuendo, and I'm going to keep it as rumor and innuendo.
Oh,
but yeah, Mauro was on the call. The building apparently ran into the same problem they ran into when Raw ran the Netflix premiere. That those lights make it seem like the building is emptier than it is, though, from what I understand, it may have been as empty as it seemed. Dom?
Yes. Sorry, I was trying to mute myself. I was trying to pull up a tweet that was relevant to what's going on here, too.
Good. I'm sure there's no problematic tweets involving Ronda Rousey or Gina Carano floating around out there.
Well, it's a friend of the show, Robert. It's friend of the show, Shayna Baszler. Let's see if I can get that. I'll just read it, actually. This is what Shayna Baszler...
Please don't get me killed by Shayna, whom I'll be seeing this August at BRCW Summer Smash, where she'll be defending her BRCW women's title against Harley Cameron.
All right. Well, this is what she had to say yesterday, Robert, at 6:32 p.m. If you want to know how fast the memory of MMA fans get erased, 17 seconds isn't even her fastest win, and people think it was worked. LOL. What about her 14-second win over Zagano, or her 16-second win over Davis, or her 5 wins under 30 seconds, or her 9 total wins under a minute? What do you have to say about that, Robert?
Here's the deal. on the one hand, I would not be surprised if it was a gentlewoman's handshake of like, look, let's get out of this and make our money. And there's already precedent for these matches go short. People are going to be frustrated because people probably paid a significant amount of money in person to go to this show, and you want to see the best match you possibly can. This was not the best match you were going to get, and unlike a clear knockout, a quick tap out does not have that same feeling. And that's what you're going home with. You sat there for hours of a pre-show and all this build up and hype. And I don't know, have you been to a UFC fight before, Dom?
No, not UFC. I've been to MMA fights.
So UFC, I mean, there's a lot of down. Like you think there's a lot of downtime at a WWE event. There's a lot of downtime during a UFC fight. So you're stuck sitting there. You get that adrenaline going. People may have had a cocktail or 20. And then you get to this main event match, and it is just quick and done. And you're like, wait, that's what we just paid for? Like, the charm of it being when a Mike Tyson fight happened, you just watch Tyson annihilate a guy in 10 seconds doesn't really translate.
Oh, is Robert frozen, everybody? Can you hear Robert? See you, Robert? Let me know in the chat. But I will say this, while Robert is frozen, that why would it... My question is, if Robert can hear me, oh, he's gone. Okay. My question is with this Ronda Rousey thing, if it's a work, why make it so short? Yeah, you can get across the point that Ronda's a dominant force. If you make it even a little bit of a longer fight, give the fans a little bit of entertainment. I just think, okay, Ronda is dominant, and that's kind of what happened. It does not make dollars and cents to do that to your fan base that's tuning into Netflix and that it's expecting something epic, or at least relatively epic, for the two names that are involved. So that's kind of where I'm scratching my head at this potentially not being what it's supposed to be. I think it was legitimate. You'd want more bang for your buck as a fan and a viewer. If this went a little bit longer and then she tapped out, you could maybe have some sort of debate regarding that. But 17 seconds for what the people are tuning into and the expectations for Netflix with the letdowns of the Jake Paul, Anthony Joshua, and previous fights with Mike Tyson. You want to build something, and I don't know if that's necessarily the best way to do it. There you go. We're back. Robert, real quick, what I just presented was, okay, if this is worked, why not make it go a little bit longer? You're not getting return on investment if you have Ronda be a dominant force that quickly. You could still convey that message.
Because if Ronda didn't immediately annihilate Gina Carano, who to most fans is a name but hasn't actually fought in a proper MMA fight in quite some time, it's further devalued. If you it's kind of to put it in wrestling world, it's like, all right, if we're going to bring back Kurt Angle, who hasn't wrestled in a number of years, and you put him in there with Obafemi, and Obafemi destroys him in 10 seconds, you've just made a legend in Obafemi. But if Oba struggles with Angle, it kind of weakens him a little bit. Either way, I think that it probably went up doing more harm than good.
Right. So why do it? Like, wouldn't...
Well, the idea across the board of saying they did more harm than good, because you now have people who are going to say, well, I might not pay money to go see another one of these shows. Netflix is still going to get eyeballs. It costs you nothing to click that button and watch it. So this is the world that we're in right now. And it's going to be these kind of bizarre attraction-based things to pull eyeballs in.
But the more you do, I was just referencing this when you were gone, was you look at what happened with Jake Paul and Anthony Joshua. You look what happened with Jake Paul and Mike Tyson. Huge letdowns. It's going to erode soon enough. Even if you get it for free, what's going to be the incentive for me to tune into these fights if they're crap or they only last 17 seconds or under?
Because there's a curiosity factor. There's always going to be a little bit of that. You're going to slow down at a car crash kind of thing. So
I guess I just don't know. I mean, I guess you said it, though.
If you're paying for it, if Netflix is going to pay the money and they're going to put these fights up, it's kind of, do I want to see two skilled guys that I don't know who they are, or do I want to go see whatever the freak show attraction is? Do I want to go back and watch a wrestling mat classic, or do you want to go watch Hulk Hogan versus Mr. McMahon with Roddy Piper and a lead pipe? there's
Sign me up
different
for the
flavors
rider.
for different. There's different flavors for different people. That's kind of where we're at. And do we have to talk Monday Night Raw, or can I keep my blood pressure at an even level?
Well, let's talk what Ronda Rousey had to say before that fight happened
Oh, I don't
about
give a.
WWE.
Ronda Rousey gets so like it's the biting the hand that feeds them and creating whatever the narrative is of the moment. That WWE made her a lot of money. It gave her an opportunity to extend her longevity in a world where she wasn't having to train as hard for actual fights as what she was doing in WWE. She made a name for herself in a totally different arena, and now thinks that you're going to get more clicks by taking shots at WWE or taking shots at pro wrestling. I got no patience and time for her quote. So I don't even know what it is, unless it's rumor and innuendo is the best show we've got.
Well, she did speak with Zach Cadorn, friend of the show, and she talked about her influence on women's wrestling. And I have to agree with her on this, Robert, but let's get to your take real quick. She says, I'm very aware that women are headlining WWE because of me, that women are headlining, making big paydays in boxing because of me, and bare knuckle boxing and full contact karate and everything that's a contact sport. I'm very, very proud to seeing all the success that women are having because I was able to prove their commercial viability, and everyone's trying to recapture lightning in a bottle. I'm kind of with her, Robert, and her getting it launched off for WWE, especially with the women's wrestling. Sure, you had notable names in Charlotte Flair, Bayley, Sasha Banks, and Becky Lynch, but I think bringing Ronda Rousey legitimized it even more and brought them to the main event picture. But what do you think?
I don't know. I mean, I think that she definitely within the world of MMA, but it's like Misha Tate was kind of the trailblazer in that world for a lot of people. And Ronda Rousey kind of capitalized on that. I don't think that WWE would never have main evented a WrestleMania without, being like, oh, if we don't have Ronda Rousey, we're not going to let the women main event a WrestleMania. I think Becky Lynch became a bigger star on her own where it became an undeniable thing anyway. I've been beating the drum the last few years that they should have a women's main event, at least for one of the two nights at WrestleMania, because I would say Rhea Ripley is probably one of the biggest stars, gender neutral, that the company has.
Agreed on that. Yeah. It's just the simple fact that WWE hasn't done their due diligence at building up a great women's feud to main event one of those nights at WrestleMania. I think that's been their big misstep in the past few years. But I'm with you on that. Well, Robert, I guess we do have some time to preview Raw.
No, I'm sorry.
Really pumped for this. It
I'm
feels
gonna,
like a carbon. Do you want to pivot? Do you have another topic you want to cover?
I'm gonna burn through this quickly to save time and breathe the sigh of relief when it's over.
All right, let's do it.
Second note, same as the first. I still do not understand this Roman Reigns Jacob Fatu story, and every week that we get further into this, I still get further and further confused as to what it is. And by that, I mean, if you picked a side, either Roman's the babyface or Fatu's the babyface, we're good. Like
Right.
that's it. Because I can see the narrative of Jacob Fatu is a guy who was being held back from getting an opportunity in WWE because Roman said this guy seems too dangerous because he served time in prison. He's come out, he's reformed his life, he's worked for 14 years. He wants his opportunity, and Roman is gatekeeping and claiming it's because I need to protect the whole family. That's an interesting, captivating story right there. And that Fatu got cheated because Roman pulled the turnbuckle off. That makes sense if Jacob Fatu is the babyface. If Roman's the babyface, Roman's the guy that's saying this guy is too dangerous and he's using a move that is sacred to our family that you should never use in the ring because it can really kill somebody, quote unquote. And that, I did beat him. I didn't mean to pull the turnbuckle off. It doesn't matter. He challenged me. I beat him. We need to move on. Then there's a story. Instead, it's like the worst of both worlds. Everybody looks kind of dumb from it, and the audience is going to get increasingly confused as to what's going on. I know we all say we want shades of gray. Shades of gray work when the storyline makes sense as shades of gray. There are no shades of gray here. It's all purple.
And to your point, it's like Roman, he does this stuff. He's portrayed as the babyface, but there's still that overlying factor that Roman is part-time. No matter what's been getting said to him being full-time and whether he's got these dates off and everything like that, you can't necessarily put all your chips into Roman and invest him as a fan because he's not going to be there.
He's not going to be there. And also, I think if the audience was given the chance to fully be behind Jacob Fatu and want to see him win the title, they would be there for it.
I'm with you. Yeah.
You know,
absolutely.
there's a sympathy to the Fatu story that you can easily tell, and they just are choosing not to do it. Paige and Brie Bella versus Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez for the women's tag titles. We're probably going to further the Judgment Day split here with some kind of miscommunication or whatnot. El Grande Americano, Bravo, and Rayo versus the original El Grande Americano, Bluto and Julio. These are 6 very talented performers. Is this a little goofy? Sure. Is it going to be fun? Yeah, this is a good 20 minutes of the show. I'm fine with it. And lastly announced for this damn show is the Obafemi Open Challenge. Feed him more. Feed him more.
There's a certain D'Angelo that's going to be in Greensboro tonight, too.
Tony D'Angelo is going to be there?
Yes. NXT champion.
The Obafemi Open Challenge has continued diminished returns. We're not going to get because no one wants a great match out of that, by the way. You want the Ronda Rousey 17-second squash, but you kind of feel for whoever's going out there because if they're forced to go out there, then it's, dude gets thrown in the rancor pit and gets torn apart. I've been trying to catch up on The Mandalorian for the movie for taking the kid.
I heard the movie's not going to be that good.
I heard the movie's not that great, but I don't know. And it's like, and if someone is heroic and accepts the open challenge and they're a heel, they're kind of a babyface. If they accept the open challenge and they are a babyface, they're an even bigger babyface. The whole thing, it stinks to high hell. I don't want it. I don't need it. It's dumb. The Obafemi Open Challenge solves nothing for anybody. What can be solved is if you're wondering tomorrow what to do between 12 and 12:30 Eastern Standard Time, you can catch Rumor and Innuendo because we're live every Monday through Friday at noon Eastern on a plethora of platforms, including the WWE Creative_ISHX account, the @Dominic D'Angelo X account, the @SE Scoops X account, and on YouTube on Studio One Sports and Podcast Heat. So on behalf of the man who suddenly is a Knicks fan today, Dominic D'Angelo, I'm Robert Karpolis. Best of luck in your future endeavors.
John Starks for life.